fans eagerly anticipating the North London derby tomorrow afternoon against Arsenal. Dermot is unable to be with us tonight. It's due to a family matter. So we're just going to have a very brief rundown on what we think is going to happen tomorrow, and also a resume of what happened in the Premiership today. There is a lot of streams on at the moment, as you're aware, because of the North London derby, and that's what we're going to keep this short. There is a 24-hour charity stream going on, which is for a great cause. So we're not going to impose on their time too much. Anyway, tomorrow. Remember back in May when Spurs were playing their third last game of the season, I think it was, at home to Arsenal on a Thursday night. Arsenal were 4 points ahead of us. They only needed to win that game to qualify for the Champions League and consign us to at least the Europa League or less. Those of you that were there will remember the crowd played their part so much in that particular night. The crowd was a 12th man. They inspired the players into one of the best performances of the season. The Spurs players went for every tackle. There was no holding back. There was absolute commitment from start to finish. Okay, we were assisted by the sending off of Rob Holding, but for an absolutely stupid couple of fouls on Heung-min Son, and we should have known better. But like you can only play what's in front of you, and we played against 10 men and we hammered them. Now, tomorrow, if you were to believe a lot of the social media posts today, Arsenal already have the League won. And with decisions like Stuart Atwell gave at Old Trafford today, that may well be the case. I don't know if anybody saw it, but United's equalising goal, or was it the winning goal? Sorry, it was the equalising goal. Marcus Rashford was blatantly offside. Now, under the new rules of VAR, it said he wasn't interfering with play, but he feinted to kick the ball and also kept the Man City defender away from tackling Fernandes, who actually scored the goal. So how it was given, I really do not know. That means in the last 2 weeks, we've had two of the worst VAR decisions. Liverpool versus Wolves last week, when Liverpool got out of jail, and now Manchester United getting an assist to beat Man City. So that leaves Arsenal well ahead of the top of the league. But as we know, there is nobody has won a North London derby, apart from the home team or a draw, since 2014. That's the last time Arsenal beat us at our stadium. And tomorrow we need to keep that run going. We really do. Like, it's going to be a tight match. It's going to be very tight because, I mean, they are, like, in all fairness, Arsenal are playing well. No denying that. And they've got, this is the biggest test though tomorrow. This is next weekend when they play Manchester United. That will be an indication of how much they've progressed under Arteta. Arteta himself, the guy, how he doesn't get sent to the stand during the match for his antics on the touchline during every game I've seen this season, it's incredible. He gets away with murder, and he's a very arrogant guy to me. He really thinks he is the best manager in the Premiership. Just pure arrogance. So I think it's up to our lads tomorrow to let's just take them down a peg or two. Like we know Spurs are fifth in the league, but they haven't played well all season. How many games can you remember that we played consistently well for the full 90 minutes? I can barely remember any of them. So we've got to where we are by grinding out results, not necessarily pretty, and I don't think any of us will worry too much tomorrow if we scrape a 1-0 win, and it's scrappy. A win is so important for us because we've got Manchester City away on Thursday next. This is the game that was postponed because of the Queen's passing. Now, City, two things are going to happen to City. They've lost 2 games on the trot. They haven't been looking good. I've never seen a City team give the ball away as much as they did today against Man United. So there's something wrong there. And I think the biggest problem is Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland may well have not been there today. He barely got a touch. He didn't have a shot on goal. He looked frustrated. He looked out of sorts. And let's hope now that he doesn't come back to form against us on Thursday. But I think we have a good record at Man City. We've done things up there that we weren't expected to do, especially last season when we won 3-2 with the late goal from Harry Kane. We've got our secret weapon back tomorrow, Kulusevski, and there's every reason why that he can cause havoc against that Arsenal defence. But we need to be very tight in midfield. The Arsenal midfield is good. We can't let them dominate us. So that's why I think the fullback choices are very, very important tomorrow. It'll probably be Doherty and Perisic, I would think. I wouldn't risk Emerson Royale in a game like this. And Jed Spence, as we know, is not flavour of the month with Conte, so he's hardly likely to get a look in. So, the team I suggest would be Lloris. It'll be the middle three will be Romero, Dyer, and Longley. The wing backs will be Doherty and Perisic. Now, in the midfield, we're hoping that Bentancur will be back. Now, it's probably again too soon for him. So I think it'll probably be Pierre Højbjerg and Emil Basuma, the two guys in midfield that we possibly might spring a surprise and play three there and put Sarr in, which would mean sacrificing one of the front players. And I know we all love him to bits, but Sonny has not been at the races this last few weeks. He scored. I know he scored against Palace, but he's not. Things aren't coming off for him. I don't know what is wrong with the guy. And I think maybe Kulusevski and Kane up front tomorrow with Son to spring up from the bench if needs be might be a good option. We need to keep it tight. We can't let Arsenal pour through the midfield because until we get the right wing-back situation sorted out and centre-back, I don't think we're going to be struggling against teams like Arsenal who are good coming down the flanks. So if you're going tomorrow, please come home hoarse. Shout till your throat is sore because the lads need every bit of support tomorrow. We can really put a dent in Arsenal's title ambitions by winning tomorrow and give us the bragging rights for another season because this will be the last game we'll play in the season, hopefully. And we want to see noise from the South Stand. We want to see noise. It's never been like back to May again. A repeat of that will do fine. And then, of course, that I'm still laughing at the game after that, where the Amazon documentary about Arsenal. The title of the last episode was maybe they'll lose at Norwich. We didn't. We won 5-0 at Norwich, and this is going to be playing on the Arsenal players' minds. They know how they bottled it last season, and if they lose tomorrow, they can bottle things. They can bottle things again. They really can. So. And there is a comment from David Clark. I'll just put it up here. Hi, David. How are you? He says, hi from Leicester. Any team in 97 minutes with 71% possession, 723 passes, but only has 5 shots on target, 1 on target, plus the coach when they made substitute, not going to win the league. I take it you're talking about Manchester City. I didn't see the stats on that game, but they certainly they weren't a great team in the first half. The second half, I thought they were dominant enough. But I just like your comments about Haaland. What did you think? What do you make of Haaland's performance today? Is he a liability? I'll tell you one thing. He's not nearly as good a footballer as Harry Kane. That is for sure. Because, Harry Kane is a complete footballer. Erling Haaland does nothing, only score goals, which is I'm not knocking it. That's what he's there for. But he doesn't add anything else to the team. He doesn't track back. So, he's a bit of an enigma just at the moment. There's another comment, David. I think there will be 2 red cards tomorrow. Well, as long as they're both to Arsenal players, I won't say no to that. But you're right. It will get a bit tasty tomorrow. And I put my bet on Romero won't escape without a booking anyway, at least a booking. But, the home teams do, as I said, dominate this fixture. So let's hope tomorrow is no different, And just to have a run through on what happened today in the Premiership. There was a couple of very shock results. I watched Brighton. They absolutely tore Liverpool to shreds today. I've never seen Liverpool so badly beaten as they were by Brighton. Now, I have to say, I saw Brighton beat us at the stadium last summer or last April, I think it was. And they were very impressed with them, especially Basuma, so that's why we bought him. But today, they are a lovely team to watch. They play the ball really well. They move well. Their passing, their movement off the ball is really good. They've got a good midfield. They've got a very good defence, a decent goalkeeper, and a good strike force. And Liverpool, to be honest, were lucky to get out of it with 3-0 today. It could have been more. They were completely ineffective. Apart from Trent Alexander-Arnold, a couple of good crosses which might have led to more. But I thought that McAllister was very good. The young Irish lad, Ferguson, I think his name is very good as well. So he's one for the future for us. So Liverpool didn't do themselves any favours at all. The Klopp is under a lot of pressure now after that. We know Man United beat Man City 2-1. Everton lost at home again. They are really under pressure now. And I believe today the police advised the Everton board not to attend the match because there have been threats to their personal safety. And the Everton board agreed to that request. Now, I think that's horrible, really. You know, let's face it, it's not football. It's only football. It's not a matter of life and death. And to have people's safety threatened because they haven't invested properly in the team or the fans are disgruntled with something. We know what's going on at Tottenham, but there's been no threats made against Daniel Levy yet that I'm aware of. I think that's absolutely horrible. And let's you know, whoever's doing it, I hope that the police know who they are and get after them, you know. And the other games today were Nottingham Forest 2, Leicester 0. Brendan Rodgers in trouble again there. Leicester can't seem to buy a win these days. And then Wolves beat West Ham 1-0. So I'm really sorry to see our neighbours West Ham in the bottom three, but it's not really. I'm delighted, actually. I hope to stay there. And then Brentford have scored against Bournemouth to go 1-0 up. So Brentford are doing well as well. Bournemouth not so good. Now, David has another point here. He says, I want the Spurs to play like Brighton, even if it doesn't bring us a trophy. Yeah, well, I mean, David, you obviously saw the match today, and Brighton were pretty good. They were very good. And they're not far behind us in the league now. So, you know, that's the way it is. And then Haaland is an excellent player. Man City played poorly in the last game and Haaland didn't play. Yeah, he hasn't played he came on as a sub against Southampton, didn't play there. He hasn't been on the boil for the last while. Like, he's an excellent player in what he does, but he leaves you a wee bit short in some areas that the likes of Harry Kane will cover. Haaland doesn't do that. And he gets frustrated very easily, and you can wind him up very easily. So I think, you know, I'm looking forward to Romero playing against him next Thursday. I say there'll be sparks flying in that one, you know. So yeah, so that's the rundown. I'm just looking at Celtic are beating Kilmarnock 1-0 in some cup tie in Scotland here at the minute as well. So on the transfer front, there is an unconfirmed report that Pedro Porro, or whatever his name is, has agreed personal terms with Tottenham, which is the thin end of the wedge on the deal because Sporting Lisbon still haven't agreed to sell him to us for the fee that we're offering. So we'll have to wait and see what happens on that. Apparently there's a meeting scheduled for early next week. They want to keep him for the Benfica match tomorrow. And after that, they're let's hope they win tomorrow so they're in a good mood. Like I think there was still a couple of million or 3 million between the asking price and the selling price. So I hope we don't lose another player. We lost too many players over the years because of haggling over price like that, you know. So I think that we'll see what happens there. There's another that was supposed to be getting for the like of me. I can't remember the name. He's a centre back in Germany. I think he plays for Leverkusen. The name just escapes me at the minute, but the deal on that is that we're going to loan him back for the rest of the season. So that means next season we're going to have another. I just can't remember his name now, and then we're going to have Destiny Udogie coming in next season. So the team is looking better for next season, but it's this season I think we should be more concerned about, you know. And also then you've got the old takeover thing or the selling thing. Are we selling? Are we not selling? The Joe Lewis, there's rumors going around that he wishes to sell up completely now. He's 85 years of age. He has more or less passed things over to his trustees or his daughter or whatever. And but in fact, if someone was to buy us in total, it can't be the Qatari mob because they only can take 30% of a club. So if somebody else wants to buy us in full, then it's got to be somebody else other than the crowd, the Qataris. And we'll have to wait and see what happens there. And also the naming rights still are up in the air. As I said last night, there is a guy involved, employed to get the naming rights, but I think his office must be a bit like the Carlsberg office in the old TV ad, Carlsberg Complaints Office, which is full of dust and cobwebs and nothing happening in there. So if you get, all I'll say to him, get your finger out. We need to get these naming rights sorted out, you know. And the downside of the naming rights is that if we do become the Google Stadium or the Amazon Stadium or the whatever, that means the stadium will no longer be considered as a venue for the European Championships because they will only allow stadiums that do not have naming rights on them. So that's another thing to be taken into consideration when they're sorting out the funds. Here's another comment from David here. I think it's about Leicester City. My brother and my son have just wrote letters on. Excuse me. I've just written letters on Facebook, absolutely lambasting the Leicester players for the total lack of passion and heart, especially Tielemans. I always thought Tielemans was one of the better Leicester players. You know, mind you, I'm always grateful to him for giving the ball away to Harry Kane last season. For Harry Kane to allow to put away Stephen Bergwijn to score the winner in that remarkable 3-2 win, because that's the game that got us into the Champions League. Really, if we hadn't won that match, we wouldn't have been in the Champions. So, you know, thanks to Tielemans. And also, this Leicester coach continues to play a failed right back at centre back when he has two centre backs on his bench. We don't want him at Spurs. No, no, we don't. We don't. I think we'd rather have Christian Gross back than have Brendan Rodgers. I think Brendan is a bit of a busted flush now. He hasn't really shown much at Leicester. And, you know, he's decent players there. I don't know why he's not able to mould them into a team, you know, but I see Leicester struggling now for the rest of the season. And it's going to be interesting to see. Like, the table is becoming so compounded now, so scrunched up. There's not that many points between top and bottom, you know. But the bottom three at the moment, I'll just have a look at it here. The bottom three at the moment is Southampton on 15 points, Everton on 15 points, and West Ham on 15 points. And it's only goal difference that's keeping West Ham off the bottom. In fact, I think if Southampton had scored another goal today, West Ham would be bottom on goal difference. So that's the good news. See West Ham there. Bournemouth are just out above the relegation zone in 16. Wolves are in 17 points. Leeds 17 points. Then Leicester with 17 points. So Leicester only 2 points above the drop. Then there's a bit of a gap up to Nottingham Forest. I mean, that was a big local derby today for them, Nottingham and Leicester. I mean, fair dues to Nottingham Forest. They've come from really being no hopers. They're now heading towards mid-table. And with our late lamented right back playing for them, Serge Aurier. And he scored a good goal for them the other day as well, you know. So that's Steve Cooper's done a good job. They're considering he had maybe 25 new players to bring into the team this summer. And I'd like to see them stay up, you know. I would like to see the teams I would like to see go down are obviously West Ham, because that'll stop them moaning about us. I think Everton will go down. I don't want to see that. I like Everton as a team. They're a good homely club. I feel sorry for the fans because they've been living in the shadow of Liverpool for so long. But I think Bournemouth might be the other team that might go down this season as well, you know. And talking about finishing in the league, let's not forget it's Spurs and Arsenal. The last time Arsenal finished above Spurs was in season 2015-16. That's nearly 8 years ago. Now, it would have been a season before that, only for that debacle on the last day when we lost 5-1 to Newcastle, already relegated Newcastle, and that let Arsenal finish ahead of us. So we're heading for, I think, maybe 2,500 days ahead of them. There's 20 matches to go this season. It ain't over yet, lads. You might be 10 or 12 points ahead of us at the moment, but if we can pull back 4 points in 3 matches, what can we do over 20? So my parting shot tonight is on this short look at the game tomorrow is Tottenham haven't played well all season. We're going to get better. Starting tomorrow, I hope, with a tough run of games coming, if we can get 6 points out of 9 against Arsenal and Manchester City, I will be very happy, and it'll put the pressure on Arsenal, and the top 4 is going to be very, very interesting. So that's it. I'm only going to keep this going for this now to allow the other streams have their time. Dermot and myself will be back. I'll just read this comment from David Clark before we go. I'd have Chelsea coach if they sack him. I'll play the Brighton way, buying the right players who don't have to be world class. Yeah, there's a lot of people who didn't want Graham Potter when he was at Brighton, and I saw a picture from there recently. He's aged about 10 years in the 6 months he's been there. That job is killing him. So I don't know whether it would be wise to take a guy. If he's sacked by Chelsea, he'll be a broken man, and I don't know whether it'd be wise to take him. Like, to get your point, he's a decent coach. But I'll tell you one thing: the new guy they've got at Brighton, he had those team for 6 or 8 weeks while the World Cup was on, and he has molded them into a hell of a team. So I'll take the new guy at Brighton rather than the old one. And the last comment is, I can't believe this Arsenal thing could be 15 points ahead of us. We don't beat. Yeah, that's the sad thing. But then again, look, 15 points with 20 games to go, it's not insurmountable. You know, if you work it out, 4 points with 3 it was harder to do, and we did it. And never say die. Let's keep the chin. Let's keep the spirits up. Get behind the team tomorrow. Beat Arsenal, and we'll be in happy space here by this time tomorrow evening. Now, as I was saying there, Dermot and myself are doing a watch-along starting at 4:15 tomorrow. We might be watching it from behind the couch, but hopefully not, that we get a good result. We win tomorrow night, and it puts us into the week in great humour with the Man City game coming up on Thursday. So until then, come on, you Spurs.